What up, Junkies? Welcome back to the next episode of Culture Junkies Live. I'm your host, Kenshiro. Today we're going to be talking about the now departed role of Batman that used to be headed by Ben Affleck, and now we're just gonna kind of see, talk about who we kind of would like in a role. I know Scott Atkins is kind of like the lead category, but I'm sure there's plenty others. But also, there's a lot of rumblings about the impending Fox MCU deal, and it's about to close. So let's go ahead and let's talk about what we'd like to see out of an X-Men movie, and of course some good other stuff. So thank you for joining us. But who's going to be on the show with me today? My good friends Super Nerd Plus and the Great Daddy Kuji. How you doing, guys?
Hey, what's up?
Hello, everybody. Nice to be back.
All right, and Father Marvel is going to be joining the show a little bit later. He needs about like 20 minutes or so, he said, in order to join the show. But but this should be a fun show, just like every week. We live to entertain as we do every week at 9 o'clock p.m. Episode 151. How was everybody's week? What'd you guys do? Dido, I know you were playing, getting back to playing Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
Have you beaten the game already, or are you just finishing it? Okay. So
I have not beat the game, and sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask you exactly where are you right now in the game?
I believe I'm at chapter 8 or 9 approximately. And when I bought the game 3 years ago, I literally didn't do anything that had to do with the story. I was just doing hunts and fighting, and I managed to get up to like level 25 or 30. And over the last few months since January started, I've leveled up and I'm at 45. I was doing more side questing, and I'm having a tough time because I love the side questing. I like the fighting in that game. Is actually re-energizing instead of turn-based bullshit I put up for so many years. I really like this, and I also want to beat the game to move on to something else. So I was like, side quest or main quest, what do you do?
I got you. But I want to say hello to our returning junkies, our favorite junkies that we always see in the chat. Mr. Tony Young, welcome to the show. Don't change your underpants since you always love to say defecate all the time. And Miss Sharita Jackson, how you doing, lady? Good to see you back on the show. We love you guys joining the show every single week. Make our days. I'm sure the other junkies like Sam and Marcus, they'll all be in the chat later on. But let's get the chat popping and get a bunch of other people joining us, whether it be on Twitch, whether it be right here on Facebook or over on YouTube, whatever your preference, we got you covered. So Super Nerd will rejoin the show in a few minutes. He had to step away for a second, but so in Final Fantasy 15, are you going on the quest to get all the 13 weapons? Is that what you're doing?
Oh gosh, now whatever pops up, if it's in blue, I've been doing it. Yesterday I did this one that at the end of my stream yesterday, and you can check out the streams right now. We're streaming on Facebook, but pretty soon it will be on all three for all you guys out there that like to watch people play video games, and specifically me, who is dealing with this back catalog. But if it's in blue, it's a side quest, and I'm doing it. I did one yesterday where I had to, it's an upgrade for my Regalia, that dope ass car that I wish I had in real life, except for the gas mileage sucks. I mean, it's terrible. But it was a pretty difficult one. They said he's supposed to be level 45 in it, and I think I was like level 44, and they were still, the monsters in there were still kind of whipping my ass. Some big ass gigantic snake that had a head of a face with more snakes coming out of its friggin' head was whipping my ass till I accidentally did a summon on it, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's nice, thank you."
That actually happens all the time, actually.
Yeah. I was just like, "Oh, thanks, it helped."
LGZ is in chat. How you doing, lady? Wish you were on the show talking this good stuff that we're going to be talking about today. Eric Joseph is also in the chat. He joined the show. I don't know if he's chatting or if he's just watching, whichever. We're glad.
So glad for you guys to be there.
Yeah. Is Super Nerd back? I don't know if he's back yet, but I'm not gonna wait. Let's get to some of the main subtopics that I kind of wanted to talk about. One of them being that Henry Cavill is kind of trying to throw his weight around a little bit. So the news came out today that and it's kind of following up off the whole Batman thing, with Ben Affleck no longer being, being Batman, but Henry Cavill's, role as Superman is kind of still up in the air. But a report came out today that's saying that he'd still be willing to play Superman with a caveat. The caveat being that, of course, the obligatory pay raise. He wants more money, but beyond wanting more money, he also wants creative control. Whereas not full creative control, but he wants control over the director and the scriptwriter, or for whoever they pick to do the Man of Steel 2. So should Warner Brothers give Cavill what he wants, or should they tell him, to kick rocks and tell him go on somewhere else? What do you think?
If you're asking me, buddy, I say give him what he wants, because there's two ways to look about it. Right now, just for me, my honest opinion, I think Henry Cavill looks the part, is great, and I think he's the type of Superman that we probably need if they just change his, his persona a little bit, and it'd be fine. And I liked him in Justice League. I don't care what anybody says. I like Justice League. It was fun to me. It didn't seem like it was a piece of shit like the other two Superman movies that he was in. So maybe this guy has sat down and read some comic books. Maybe, don't know. Or maybe he's watched some of the cartoons. Who cares? Don't know. Give him a little chance, because he was that last picture of him. He was swole. Like, holy shit, this guy's been putting in the gym. Like, what are you doing, Cavill? Like, what are you doing? Because I don't even think he was like that in the Mission Impossible movie, but that was also being filmed at the same time as Justice League.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what could go wrong? Seriously, I mean, people are kind of not burnt out on the DC stuff. They don't have any hope, I guess you can say, for DC stuff. Aquaman did well. Wonder Woman did well. Aquaman, of course, did better than one of the Christopher Nolan ones. I don't remember which one, but supposedly did better than that one.
No, Aquaman has done better than every single DCEU movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
every single DCEU one.
Yeah.
And yeah, which is it's saying something. It's saying that people want some fun movies. Superman could be fun just as long as it's not cheesy. I know people have their fans. They love the 70s ones, the 80s ones with Christopher Reeve. Mm-hmm. I personally, I like watching them, but I don't think it's a comic book movie. It doesn't feel like that. I didn't really start feeling comic book movies, even though we've had movies based on comic books. They just didn't feel like they were ripped out of the comic book until very recently, even though I enjoyed quite a few of them. But the Christopher Reeve one, it was just, I guess it's just the time that it was in. And almost all movies felt like that to me, where it was just like they were making a movie and they knew you were making a movie, and it was still got characters in it. And even though it wasn't trying to be realistic, and they did do a lot better from pulling from the comic than DC does now, whatever. But I digress going on that. I think he seriously could, he could come out good, because like a lot of people are looking at Marvel. They are. And a lot of people who make movies are trying not to copy, besides Aquaman, copy Marvel, because for whatever reason, they don't want to come off copying, even though it makes money. It's going to do what it's going to do. I guess they got that pride in it, and maybe he doesn't have that, and maybe he's going to try to swing his thing around the show bad.
I just think Henry Cavill just he cares a lot about Superman as a character. Let's get that straight. And he wants it to do good. He wants the property to do good. And I think part of me feels like his request is a little ridiculous, especially based off of how good or how well.
What was the request?
Well, okay, you were missing, so you didn't hear.
Yes.
But the request is that, number one, he wants more money. Number two, he wants to be able to sign off on the director and the scriptwriter, like for Man of Steel 2. And the way Warner Brothers works, like, you gonna tell them what to do, like, and look. Would they be smart in doing it? Yeah, they would be smart in doing it, but I just don't think that Warner Brothers. I think Warner Brothers is too arrogant to think that they're going to
Yeah,
listen to this guy.
right. They are pretty arrogant
to think that they're going to listen to this guy. And, you know, who cares that he's Superman? You know, and he personifies Superman for the most part, you know, at least physically anyway. They're not going to care. They're really not going to care. I think they're going to tell him to kick rocks because they don't have Superman in their plans moving forward. They just, you know, they just want to move forward and go about doing what they're going to do. I want to say what's up to Mike Oliver and Marcus Smith. Happy to see you guys back on the show. You know, hey man, look, these are our A1 junkies, man. They show up every single week, and we appreciate them. Like, you know, any way we can do about making them like feel like they part of the brand, being brand ambassadors or whatever, we should do that because these guys are, you know, they show up every single week. So big ups to you guys. But let's see. Mike Oliver says I'm not gonna lie, I'm a DC junkie, but Doomsday did look like Donatello on fentanyl. So anyway, Super Nerd, let's give us your 2 cents. You haven't been on the show yet. So what do you think about this news about Cavill and trying to him flex his muscles on Warner Brothers?
I mean, shit, who else they got to play Superman? Nobody. So they know they got the best Superman right now. So they need to go ahead and, you know, grant his wishes because, you know, Affleck is gone. And you know, if he doesn't get his way, Cavill's going to leave too again. And it's like, who you going to have as your top two? Because, you know, Wonder Woman is one another big three, but I mean, she only hold her own for so long. Everybody want to see Batman. Everybody want to see Superman. Not saying they want to see Wonder Woman, but those are the top two guns right there. And you don't even have them on your roster. And it's like, nobody's not going to pay attention to DC after that. Maybe the TV shows, and they still get the whole fan theories and whatnot, and they're going to lose interest with the movies. I mean, like the side movies, like, you know, Aquaman and whatnot, but the main two they want to see, people want to see that. And if it don't happen, you know, what you gonna do?
Right. I hear you. I totally hear you. So you think that they should give him whatever he wants, you know, and not bat an eyelash? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, yeah, because like you said, they are arrogant, but at this point, you really ain't got no choice because you ain't gonna scramble to find somebody that's gonna be as decent as Henry Cavill. And it's going. So just go ahead and do it because you want that money. You saw it hit $1 billion for Aquaman. Mm-hmm. So it's like, come on now, just get your shit together and stop being stupid and let it rock. No, let it go.
Yeah,
let the ego go because you ain't doing nothing else. You still 20 steps behind Marvel. Sorry for all the DC fans, but you bullshit because your in-house people is fucking up.
The shade. Can't resist a chance to throw the shade. I feel you, man. So anyway, so moving right along, right? So,
moving along? Hold on, how y'all gonna move along? Move along.
You know, move along. Like, you know, these are not the droids you want to see.
Man, they need to give Cavill whatever the hell he wants because they need to get their biggest hero in the game back on track. Period. That's all there is to it. If they don't give Cavill everything he wants to make a good Superman movie, then DC needs to stop making movies. Sell it to Marvel. Sell it to Disney.
GQ, ladies and gentlemen. GQ.
Yes, sir.
Where are you at, sir? You on the road?
I am, yes, on the road coming from downtown Detroit, Detroit, as some people may call it, heading back home after working. So I will be on the show back in the flesh. Well, I'm in the flesh now, but back in the flesh in front of my own stuff probably next week.
All right, sir. Looking forward to that. Yeah. Appreciate you checking in and giving us your 2 cents. When you get a chance, get back home.
Yep. Hell yeah, just saying what's up to everybody.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. But we need your input. If you get back home, if we're still on, or if you just want to hop in the chat, give us our 2 cents. We're gonna give our thoughts about who we want our next Batman to be and who we want the next X-Men to be.
Oh goodness!
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say. I know what you're gonna say.
End of discussion. I'm done with the Batman. All right, I'll see y'all later. Though. Everybody, take it easy.
All right, dude. See you later. So that's GQ checking in on the road. We appreciate him being in. He cast his vote for Batman, but we'll get to the news at hand right now. And you know, the news kind of came out today. There's I think there's the TCAs are going on right now, And a lot of news concerning the Fox Disney deal has come out. And in fact, we have some late breaking report coming out of, according to comicbook.com, Fox reports significant progress in closing the Disney deal. And that's via Deadline. And it says, our company delivered another strong quarter of financial results underpinned by distribution and advertising revenue increases at our domestic cable networks and broadcast businesses, and a substantial gain of our on our sale of Sky, yada, 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 yada. We're all eagerly awaiting our company's new day one, and I think we're going to have capabilities without a lot of the overhead you saw before, alluding to the Disney deal. So the other report came out is that that Bob Iger decided to talk about what Disney's plans were for some of their R-rated properties, including Deadpool and perhaps even the Marvel Netflix shows. Well, Bob Iger made it known that yes, Disney will indeed produce R-rated Marvel content, including Deadpool and other properties moving forward. Will they be on Disney Plus? Probably not, but they have this other little thing that they have controlling interest in. It's called Hulu, and Hulu has plenty of R-rated or mature themed content like The Runaways, which I did get around to seeing season 2 Super Nerd, and it was actually really good, much better than season 1 to me. And they've also got the reruns of they've got Cloak and Dagger, which is getting ready to come back, and that's kind of more mature themed. I think it would be a perfect place for, you know, a lot of their mature content that they won't want to put on the streaming service. And a lot of people already have Hulu, so that actually only increases the install base and the eyes that are going to see it. So, what is you guys' thoughts on Disney confirming this thing? And did you have doubts beforehand?
Nope, it was just a strategic plan. From the jump start, they knew what they were doing. So all the people who didn't, they think it wasn't going to happen because it was rated R or that dumb shit. Like, it was going to happen. They know what they're doing. Pulp Fiction is a prime example. We've been saying this for months, almost years, about they put out Pulp Fiction under a whole different banner. So why wouldn't they put out rated R content under a different banner to make more money? Especially when they got stake in Hulu and now they own Fox. And Fox owned like 30% of Hulu, so yeah, you do the math.
Well, nobody says that Marvel can't have anything that's rated R, if I remember correctly. Did they? Because I could have sworn it was all about Disney and being the fact that though Disney owns Marvel, they don't slap Disney on any of the title cards, any of the trailers, anything that pops up. It says Marvel Studios.
Yep.
And so who's saying Marvel Studios can't have anything that's rated R? I don't think anything. And that CEO that's saying that is like, why not? Deadpool is a money maker. I don't necessarily know how much Deadpool PG Once Upon a Deadpool did, because I don't know how long it came back out into the theater. And though to me it shows that they could do a Deadpool movie that is PG-13, because I personally don't recall too much stuff that was cut out. Maybe they lessened the blood, dropped some F-bombs out of here, but I thought it was pretty funny. But regardless of that, if they still choose to do a rated R, they can easily do it, and it's Marvel Pictures, because as we've stated before, Disney owned Touchstone Films, Disney owned Miramax, Disney owned a lot of different publishing studios, and movies were freaking distributed by those that were rated R or rated PG-13, and Disney got the money from them because that's the parent company, but it wasn't Disney's name slapped on it. It's not like you got rated R Aladdin, Disney presents Aladdin, and he's going through slashing people like Altair and fucking, Assassin's Creed and shit.
Right.
It's not that. So I don't see why they wouldn't do it, because it makes them money, and they know it makes them money. And two things is probably going to end up happening pretty soon is that if Sony Movies doesn't start making money, they're going to get put on the auction block. And I can't say that Disney's going to buy them, that probably would cause more of a concern of the monopoly thing, even though I seriously don't think it's still going to be a monopoly, because you still got MGM out there, you still got Universal, you still got Warner Brothers, and monopoly means you're the only one doing it, and you still got other ones out there. But I hear that Sony movies is hurting, and Sony Electronics might sell them off. And as you know, Sony owns some Disney, some Marvel properties. In the movie,
only one, Spider-Man.
I thought that was just the Spider-Man film. Okay, that's right. Everything else Fox with the was Ghost Rider Fox? I know that went back to Marvel a long time ago because they didn't make any movies for it.
Yes, Ghost Rider was Fox.
It was Sony actually. It was
Ghost Rider was Sony.
Ghost Rider was Sony actually. No, it was Sony. Trust me, it was
Fox.
It was Paramount Pictures, dude. I mean, I can look it up. I can look it up and tell you right now.
Go ahead, look it up. Ghost Rider was Fox, because Ghost Rider was also with.
By the way, hello everybody.
It's the beard. The other beard. Sorry, the grizzly beard. The other. Sorry, but no. It was Fox.
He's 100% released. No, it's distributed by Sony's Pictures. It was Sony.
Thank you.
Right on the wiki. Wiki. Look, you can go look at it.
Yes, sir.
Columbia Pictures, Marvel Studios, Crystal Sky, distributed by Sony Pictures, dude.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Columbia
sir.
is Sony.
Hold on a second.
Columbia Pictures. That's what I meant, not Paramount. Columbia.
Yep, Columbia. But yes. And Columbia is Sony.
Hold on a second. Let's see.
And Paramount is still around. So. Yeah.
Oh well, okay. I stand corrected.
But I do believe that went back.
Father Marvel was correct. It was Sony.
Hey everybody.
But I don't think Sony owns them anymore.
Yeah, no, Sony does not. No, the rights reverted back a long time ago.
Yes,
we don't care. Yeah. We don't care anymore. We didn't make any money.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So chime in, Father Marvel. What do you think about the noise confirming that Marvel will indeed produce R-rated content on Hulu and via other avenues? And here's the other wrinkle noise about this whole thing. The other wrinkle is that the news came out yesterday that Fox as a studio will continue to exist under the Disney umbrella. That is where they're going to funnel a lot of their properties, insofar as, let's say, I don't know, Star Wars, so we can get the fanfare back like we used to have back in the day. Let's see any Predator movies that they make, any Alien movies that they make, anything that used to be under the Fox umbrella, any of the like mature Marvel movies, they could just bring them out under the Fox umbrella, and like literally it'll be like nothing ever happened. Like all it is just a seamless transition of ownership. Except for there will be a reboot of the X-Men franchise, the Fantastic Four franchise, and it'll be Marvel Studios, and it'll be distributed by Fox. I mean, it all makes sense. So give us your 2 cents on that, Follow Marvel, and then we can move on.
Well, it just makes sense. We've been saying it for months and months that Disney wants to make money. They know where the money is. They, regardless of how big a company like Disney is, they still have people that have their ears to the ground and know what people are at least asking or clamoring for to some degree. So when it comes to these Marvel properties, especially as vocal as, as geeky people have been, I mean, there's no way that they're just going to just uproot something that works like a Deadpool and such. Because, I think like early on, I just thought it was smart in general how they, Ryan Reynolds and company had played dealing with Deadpool, because when you look at how they produced the movie or whatever, as opposed to how Fox was primarily doing the X-Men movies, his movies are more adaptable than the X-Men franchise was, completely. And that was a very smart move on their part to make their stuff completely parallel to what, you know, the higher ups were doing with the X-Men films. Because, I mean, it's no wonder that, as far as I'm concerned, that Ryan Reynolds was able to keep his damn job. So, I mean, it just only makes sense. I mean, if Disney owns a portion of something where they can distribute, you know, particular brand of content that doesn't interfere with the family-friendly content, why not do it? It just makes sense. It's the logical thing to do. So anybody that was worried about it previously, hey, put the worries to bed. They're not going to, you know, like candy coat and rainbow everything. Okay, stop it, people.
Right, man. I mean, like, they haven't been doing that anyway. And I know it's a lot of DC fanboys that love doing that and saying, oh, well, it's cookie cutter. They make it easy for children to follow because it's bright and happy. Well, look, man, if y'all would get up out of your basement and, like, you know, stop having your heads in your behinds and thinking that everything's got to be, oh, it's got to be dark. It's got to be mature. It's got to be so serious, bro. Yeah, man, if they would just get over that and just realize that, you know, comic books superhero stuff isn't all about, you know, dark and gritty and real. And, you know, they will find that the Disney movies actually are a pretty good representation of comic book films in general. And I think moving forward, it's only going to, you know, better. That's my 2 cents. So so let's move on to the main topic, and, you know, kind of what brought a lot of people out today is that, you know, Batfleck is no more. Batfleck is no more. He has vacated the role, and now we have no Batman to look forward to in the upcoming Matt Reeves interpretation of what was previously called The Batman, but is now untitled Batman film, because we don't know exactly what it's going to be called. We'll see. We'll have to see. But, you know, now's a chance for us to, you know, kind of get our own fad casting going on. And as GQ alluded earlier, you know, he'd love to see Scott Atkins become Deadpool, but, you know, you never know. So now's your chance, Junkies. Who exactly would you want to have Batman? First of all, let's fill the criteria. Who do we want out of, you know, what do we want out of a Batman film? You know, that should be the first thing that we actually say. What do we want out of a Batman film that we haven't gotten already? What's the
actual
one thing that
the world's greatest detective?
Yep.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. Some detective work.
Right. So that's number one. I would love to see, like, all facets of Batman's skill set. I would love to see the Master of Disguise Batman. I would love to see, you know, the detective work Batman. I would love to see the martial artist Batman. I would love to see the Batman who overcomes seemingly insurmountable odds to, you know, somehow, win the day. You know, that's the Batman that we haven't seen. It has to be all of it. It can't be just some of it, because that's what we've gotten so far. Is like we get some of what makes Batman Batman. But we haven't gotten all of what makes Batman Batman in one movie. Now I think this is the perfect time for us to get it. I don't want them to start over. You know, I think that's the other thing I think we need to say. Don't start over. You know, please do not show his parents getting killed again.
There is one thing that they could do. They don't need to show the parents getting killed, but they could do what was it? Not Arkham City, what the Arkham Origins? Because to me, that's kind of perfect on a beginning Batman thing where Batman's been around for like a year or two. He's been causing trouble amongst stuff, and then they put a bounty on his head, and all the freaking criminals start to try to take him out. I think that would be freaking sweet, but
that would
then
be
again,
cool. But I think they need time for that. I think they need time, for
and
that.
they might. But I think that if they were to go origin, like we were saying, I think that's the only way they should go. They don't need to go to the beginning, like you said. He's already established, but he's still new. That's cool.
John P over on YouTube actually has a really good idea. Whoever Jackie Chan's stunt crew is should work on the next Batman film. Let's see some real fighting, like some real mix-up fighting. I would love to actually see that. Like maybe if it was stunt choreographed by, you know, maybe Hong Kong or martial artists or something like that. I think that could be pretty cool. We haven't seen that exactly. And you know, Affleck is not going to be Batman anymore. Well, I think, you know, it could be, you know, to be seen, because I think they're talking about, you know, the Batman is not going to star Ben Affleck, like in flashback scenes, it's going to be literally a younger Batman, which is good. So I'm not sure for sure if they're just going to try and have us just forget that Ben Affleck was ever Batman, and moving forward, all we're going to see is the young Batman, which would be kind of tricky. But anyway, who do we think could fulfill all the facets of being the perfect Batman? Who has the physicality, who has the face, and who could pull off the duality of the role? So your thoughts. Scott Atkins has already been thrown out there. Okay, let's briefly talk about why Scott Atkins would make sense as Batman. Why?
I mean, at this point, I think that over the years, he's not exactly the greatest actor, but he's gotten better over the years from when I first seen him. So, but I just think when it comes to the character Batman, the thing is, you don't really need like Oscar-worthy type acting to play Batman. You just have to be able to believe that he's this very stoic, sometimes monotone, but can kind of put on airs as the Bruce Wayne character, and just kind of give that whole, just somebody that's stoic enough to be able to play the role to where that we kind of know Bruce Wayne is, because we essentially know that persona-wise, Bruce Wayne is the persona. Batman is really who he is. So somebody that can be able to pull that off, do the detective stuff and all that, and just make it believable enough, and somebody that actually has the physicality to be able to pull it off. I mean, that's why a lot of people are really kind of pushing Scott Atkins out there, because he literally could do it. Like, I think as an actor, he's gotten better over the years enough to where I think he can pull off a Bruce Wayne. Like, I really think he does. Because the off thing is that, yeah, they could technically get somebody that can pull in a award-winning performance, but we already know that like everything else is going to be kind of lacking. Like, we already know the physicality part or whatever is going to be very limited, because stunt doubles and whatever have you. Because Ben Affleck, he has good acting range. He did a decent enough Batman. But I mean, like I said, he's decent enough range, but I can't, you can't really buy him too much as being a superhero. I mean, he was okay as Bruce Wayne, but again, like anybody, you can literally get a lot of people, put him in the same role that they gave Ben Affleck, and it still would have been received the same way.
All right. So, yeah. So Sharita Jackson actually threw out someone. She said Josh Hartnett. And, Josh Hartnett as Batman, I think probably would have worked maybe 10 years ago, maybe. But I don't think now. I mean, has Josh Hartnett even been in anything lately?
Nothing really noteworthy.
I think anything with him, anything in it. I mean, that's really out the box thinking for her. And, like Marcus Smith just replied to her, I like it too. That's some really... Yeah,
it's not a bad choice at all.
It's not a terrible choice. I don't know. Maybe he's not charismatic enough to be Batman. Okay, Sharita Jackson says he's in Penny Dreadful. Okay, fine.
Okay.
I'd have to see that. I'm not knocking it. That's one choice for Batman. I'm not sure. I don't see any other young actors, that are known in Hollywood that could probably pull it off and do a good job. So, Super Nerd, who do you think might do a good job as Batman? That's not
Robert Pattinson. I mean, that's one person I know is Scott Atkins, but not Robert Pattinson. That's for damn sure.
Hell no, not no Robert Pattinson. I think that was a joke. Yeah. I don't think that was for real. I don't think that was for real at all. To be honest, I don't know any other actor, because I guess Scott Atkins has been forced down our throat so much, and he's the only candidate that actually does martial arts. And is physically fit to do the role. I mean, like you said, like Paul Marvel said, you don't have to have Oscar worthy for Batman to talk. Batman hardly even talked any damn way unless he, found something, or and he had to put on a show just to be Bruce Wayne, to smile and shit. So he didn't, he doesn't want to smile. Right.
So to be honest, I mean, I would say Scott Atkins. I don't think nobody else. Who you got?
Well, I was gonna say, you guys, if Adam West can do it, there's a lot of people who can do it. And
I mean, we know what particular version that was for Adam West.
Yeah,
my guy. But
what's his name? John. Because like, if you're looking for somebody who can do the martial arts and not have a stuntman, I mean, I'm sorry, though it sounds great, it's not good to have your lead character do his own stunts, because if he gets hurt, then you don't have a lead actor anymore.
Man,
so those got
look.
Hey,
Jackie
you know it would happen.
That for years, dude.
And the motherfucker has gotten hurt so much.
So
Tom Cruise too.
And he doesn't.
Tom Cruise too.
Tom Cruise have been doing stuff, and Tom Cruise haven't. I'm not saying. Look, I'm not saying that you can't have that happen. Most of the big stunts, from my understanding, when Jackie Chan has done them and gotten hurt, are usually the last things that they have to do for the movie. The guy still has a hole in his head from some of his stunts, right? And things can go wrong. That guy's fucking looking at shit. He is.
Jackie's nuts. That's why.
But we're saying that you don't necessarily always have to have that stuff. And I hear they were talking about John Hamm. He seemed like he could be a decent friggin'.
He'd be a really good Bruce Wayne. I think, as I think John P from YouTube just said, can't say much for fighting though. Probably a stunt double. And
he probably would be. Yeah. But that's the whole deal about making friggin' movies. They're not real, people. They don't have to be real. They're movies. It's made to look like it's doing that stuff. That's why you have editing, special effects, and stunt. Come on. You don't have to have somebody in there that can actually do the role. That's acting. Acting.
Right. See, yeah, I mean, it's kind of the difference between because I mean, Hong Kong cinema like does a really good job of that usually, and it's like anytime I think about like a movie where it was like mostly martial arts based and the editing was like so bad you could completely tell it was different, like Mortal Kombat Annihilation comes to mind. Because we all know that my man that played Rain was not doing any of those fight scenes.
He wasn't. I think that was Ray Park that was actually doing
yes, it was. Like, he had a completely different build and everything. It's like, that's not even him, the guy.
Yeah. All right, I've seen some people throw out John Cena, and if so, you need to get your head checked. Get your head checked. No John Cena for Batman. Sharita Jackson with another out the box picks. James Franco as Batman. Like, now he's a fantastic actor.
He's more like a Hush to me.
Yeah, his Tommy Oliver would. I mean.
Tommy Oliver?
Not Tommy Oliver. Tommy Elliott. My bad. I got Power Rangers on the mind, I guess. His Tommy Elliott Hush would actually be pretty good. Would be pretty good.
That would have been Tommy Oliver. That's
GQ's in the chat, and he brings up GQ's in the chat, and he brings up a damn good point for you, Mr. Dido. He says, you know why Bruce Lee movies are still so classic? Because Bruce Lee was the real deal.
And I agree with you.
He's right.
Those Bruce Lee movies, the fight scenes were good, but you're not watching those Bruce Lee movies for the fine acting. You're watching them to beat the shit out of people, and we like that, and that's two different reasons. And you realize that Batman is not just going around there beating the shit out of people, because if he's called the world's greatest detective, and we have yet to see that needs to happen. And if you're going to have something like that, you have to have some kind of acting chops, because it's got to be somewhat believable. That's the thing about acting. You got to believe it. You got to be able to believe it. And if somebody's just fitting in a suit and doing some, martial arts and stuff, while that looks cool, is that all you want from Batman? Because I'm pretty darn sure you watch Batman animated series, and though Batman animated series, he got into fights, it wasn't just about the fights. It was very multifaceted, with the Bruce Wayne stuff in it, with the Batman being a detective stuff in it, Batman being able to defend himself when he needed to defend himself. They have yet to put that in a movie where it's all around. He's either all fighting or no detective work, but being silly as fuck fighting.
Right.
So I mean, come on.
Will someone put in the chat? Will Smith is Batman. Kill yourself.
Will Smith is Batman will make $5 billion.
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Man,
No, sir.
Get out of town.
No, sir.
Joshua Sampson Riley, I want to thank you. Welcome to the show. Good
Yo,
to
what's
see
up,
you on the
Josh?
show, sir. He's saying Will Smith as Batman would make $5 billion. I'd see it 20 times good or bad. Dude, get the. Stop,
Yeah,
just
I mean,
stop,
hey,
man.
the first black Batman.
I know he's joking to get a rise out of us, but man, come on, man, be for real. Be for real. He can't even do Deadshot without being Will Smith. Come on. You think he's gonna do Batman without being Will Smith? That would be terrible. Ooh, that'd be terrible. Now look, I saw Tony Young throw out a couple of TV greats earlier. Adrian Pasdar, I think at this point is probably too old to do Batman realistically. But his other suggestion of Brett Dalton, who played Ward on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., now he might be a pretty good choice. Dark Horse for sure. I don't know if he'd be able to do pull off the gravitas to be Batman, but it's an interesting pick. It's an interesting pick. I think it's an interesting pick. I do.
I mean, I think it is. I think it could be because he kind of carries the, he kind of carries a similar bravado as a Bruce Wayne could. Given by his performance, like in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. playing Ward, like he kind of has that about him. So I could see it. The thing is, like, he does have a very young looking appearance, though. So it's like, even though we know he's older, but I don't know, like, it's kind of hard to really. I mean, I guess like he would have to be. They have to make him a little bit more grizzly looking or something or whatever, because he still has a youthful appearance. So sometimes it's always hard to look at Batman having a baby face. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I mean, I could see it. I'm not knocking it at all. I could see it. Just like if he was like probably like year 1 or year 2 Batman or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure Warner Brothers might end up going with a young unknown to be Batman before it's all said and done, and that honestly might be the best course for them. If he was older, what do you guys think? In here, just hear me out, right? I know he's kind of new to DC TV, but Brendan Thwaites, who plays Robin on Titans, what do you think about him as Batman? Maybe
not yet.
No,
definitely maybe when he's older, but definitely I don't know. Like, I don't know.
All right.
And the thing is, at this point, as far as casting goes, it's kind of really hard to trust Warner Brothers in general. Like, okay, so I don't know. Like, it's really hard to trust Warner Brothers as far as like the casting is like with Batman in particular, because Batman is such a cash cow for Warner Brothers to some degree, and it's like well, at this point right now, because like a lot of folks, obviously, but up to this point, yeah, but after BVS and Justice League, whatever, like folks is kind of like, I don't know. But the thing is, I think they have like either a really big problem with either trying to go for somebody that's like really popular in some like facet of entertainment, but hasn't really done like the superhero stuff a whole lot. I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's just hard to really trust them as far as that casting goes. It really.
Yeah. Now, Sharita Jackson just threw out Dylan Sprouse, who's famously one of the twins. I think Dylan is starring on Riverdale as Jughead right now. Him as Batman, I don't know. I'd have to see that. I'd have to see that. I do
he's
too young.
He looks more like a Tim Drake right now.
Yeah, he's really young. He's got a very youthful appearance. I don't know. Armie Hammer is another very popular pick for them to do, but I don't know. After the whole Lone Ranger debacle, I'm not sure if Warner Brothers is going to want to put him back in the saddle. No pun intended.
Do you see? Do you saw that movie with him? It was him. There's two spies. What the heck was the name of that movie?
It was The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah, I thought he did a great job in that.
Him and Henry Cavill. But see, that was
exactly
that was a duo movie. You know,
could you imagine Henry Cavill back as Superman and him being Batman?
Yeah, that would be interesting. You're right. Man, we're running low on time here. Because I actually had another really fun topic that I wanted to get to. We'll have to see, you know, who's going to end up being the next Batman. I mean, they're supposed to be filming like later this year, starting to film, and we've had no casting announcements as of yet. Matt Reeves is really playing this close to the vest. Like, he ain't letting nothing slip. Like, he's literally keeping it close to the vest. So we'll have to see exactly what he's got in mind. So
WB's MO, in my opinion.
Right. We'll see. DC's gonna give it to Tom Hardy. Tony Young says. I don't think so, man. I think he's busy being Venom. I don't think they're gonna do that. So anyway, moving right along. So the next really fun topic I had for us that I kind of wanted to spend some time on, and I'll devote a little extra time to it if we need to, is the next topic I wanted to get to is let's cast the MCU X-Men movie. Now, you know that the Disney Fox deal is getting really close to being done, and the X-Men is probably going to be, you know, is one of the hotter properties out there in the Fox stable. No, Fantastic Four has been in, you know, the wings for a while, but I think it's going to be super important for moving forward, MCU getting a really proper X-Men movie off the ground. Now, let's take this piece by piece. I want to go over, first of all, who are the X-Men, like the type of movie that we want to go for, right? The type of X-Men movie that we want to go for, the principal X-Men, and exactly how we want this thing to kind of progress. Is it going to be a trilogy, just an ongoing series that's open? You know, so let's start. First of all, let's lay the groundwork, right? Okay, so we know the MCU is pretty firmly established. We don't know exactly what's going to happen at the end of Infinity War. We don't know if the timeline is going to be reset. I'm assuming, my best guess is that whatever reality rewrite they have to do in order to restore everybody to life is going to end up folding all the X-Men and the Fox properties into the Marvel MCU. So they'll be launched at some point. So I think the only way to really go about doing this right is to start off with the introduction of the X gene itself. You know, the X gene kind of started, I guess, a long time ago. Magneto was first, and you got to go all the way back to World War II in order to get Magneto's complete origin out there, which is unfortunate because every year that goes by, the further away we're getting from World War II, and a believable, and I mean absolutely believable Magneto running around, you know, vilifying the X-Men and stuff like that, it's going to be hard to do. So we might have to figure out something else.
No, they should bring in the Celestials and really go way back and how they experimented.
Okay,
because they did show well, you know, like Celestials, if you know the newer books, they kind of like in the beginning of time, the Neanderthals, they kind of implanted the X gene into them or experimented on them, and that's how X genes,
similar to the way the Kree did to humans, make the new
correct.
Right.
Pretty much.
Because think about it, they did show the Celestial head in Guardians of the Galaxy.
I mean, that's true. That is very true.
That's Celestial, but yeah,
it's very true. Now, man, look, we've got some really good choices in the chat, and I got to make sure that I get back to some of these because some of these are actually very, very inspired. But
Tony Young is like on fire right now.
She on fire right now. So first of all, let's start by laying the groundwork. So if we're gonna start with the creation of the X-Men, right? We're not talking about they're already being established, because it's gonna be hard for you to make an established X-Men team that hasn't been public, like, and nobody's heard of them. The Avengers haven't heard of them. The Shield hadn't heard of them. No, that's gonna be hard to do. You'd have to start at the very, very beginning. So for me,
Right.
This is just my opinion. You got to start with the original 5: Cyclops, Iceman, Angel, Beast, and Marvel Girl. You have to start with those original 5, and you could go from there.
Agree.
You could go from there. Like, they have to be the first original X-Men team, like the first. Now, you guys can disagree or not. Let me know what you think in the chat. What do you guys think about that? Like, do you think the original 5 and Fallen Marvel? I already heard you agree with me. What do you think, Dido, and what do you think, Super Nerd?
I mean, I would like to see that. That's what they missed in the first damn place.
Right.
They should have had the original 5.
And you know what? It makes it even more aggravating that they recast the original 5, basically, and didn't use them right. Oh my God! It was. Here's
what's gonna piss me off the most: if they don't. If I want to see Cyclops' actual move set instead of something burning something in half.
Yeah.
So I mean, at least we know we get the right move set, and everybody not made up shit.
So we kind of agree that they need to start with the original 5. And so if we're doing that right, part of the problem with the X-Men films that I've always had is that they focused on Wolverine, which was a mistake. But second, they introduced so many characters that were like one and done. You never got to build a rapport with those 5. Noel the Diabetic, appreciate the follow over there on Twitch. But yeah, so I think you have to build a rapport with some of these characters. You got to care about them. Yeah, and I think you have to start with the first 5 and do that. Now, I know GQ disagrees over in the chat. He's saying, no need to reinvent the wheel. The audience is ready to move forward, but you got to establish a firm base. That's just me. I mean, you got to establish a firm base. And I think the part of the problem is they, yes, we've seen this story a little bit before, but they've never done it right. I want them to do it right. And that's the most important thing. Yeah, they got to do it right.
The reason why I agree with you is, like, unlike Batman and Superman, whose stories not only are old as shit, close to 100 years old or not, X-Men is not very known. Most people, and it's unfortunate, that know of the X-Men that are not avid comic book readers is from the Fox cartoon in the 90s. And that you still kind of got some stuff, but it wasn't the origin. They were already basically established in the cartoon, and it always moved forward from there. So I don't see why they couldn't do that, actually start from the beginning. I do think it might be a little difficult, but I don't see why they can't do that.
See, I what I think is that once they do have this foundation, I think what they can do, and GQ actually kind of brought this up, they can sort of do somewhat kind of like, not necessarily call it first class, but really kind of go first class direction and kind of tie up a little bit of the loose ends like they did at the beginning of the Incredible Hulk movie, how they kind of like go through like all of the stuff with him doing the experiment and all that. They've gone through all that. Right. So then once the movie starts, it's like fast forward with like a year, 2 years, something like that. So if they kind of already established, like, okay, Professor X met with all these young people, he brought them together, the school is, it's supposed to be a school for gifted youngsters, but the mutant gene isn't out there yet. And really, going through the thing with him actually trying, showing them being established and just showing the different dynamics between all, and, maybe expand on some other X-Men characters in the process. Obviously not have Mystique being the anti-hero and all this other mess, and not make the villains or whatever like simple goons like they've been doing like almost every X-Men movie, like Ergo, Sabretooth, and Lady Deathstrike. But I really think like if they go that route, with them being kind of like already established, or just if they can find a way to do that, like, I'm for it. Like, I'm for them having an original 5, especially getting a really legit Bobby Drake on the team. Like that, I'm really looking forward to that.
I think that would be the best thing to do. Like, maybe if you started that, Professor Xavier is keeping the whole mutant gene thing is like a secret. I guess to keep people from being persecuted, and that may very well end up being, you know, some kind of post-hypnotic thing where Xavier like pulled some kind of, you know, mind trick and just wiped people's minds, you know, because he is that powerful or whatever, just to prevent them from being persecuted. And he kind of just gathered them in the school, and the school is like really hidden away, and you know, they haven't even publicly been in action as the X-Men yet. I kind of want an origin story of that in a way, and we get the real X-Men uniform, not like, you know, some piecemeal thing, or, you know, some other, you know, let's get the real X-Men uniforms. But see, and that's also going to be part of the problem, is like, how do you develop that story? And maybe you guys can help, maybe everybody out there can help me with that. How do you help, you know, how do you develop that story to where you're following these 5 characters, basically, you establish them somehow, you build a rapport with them, give them someone to fight, and, you know, create a believable conflict that you can stretch, you know, over the course of a series. Now, Wolverine is I know a lot of people are saying, you know, Wolverine makes the money, he isn't going anywhere, or Wolverine needs to be, you know, in the film. I disagree. I don't think Wolverine needs to be in the film. They can leave him out. Magneto as an Avengers villain would be incredible to introduce. It would be an incredible way to introduce mutants, but I just don't think they're going to go that route.
No, they need, look, if they're going to reintroduce Wolverine, they need to do a Hulk versus Wolverine storyline.
Yeah,
that to me,
that would be cool.
To me, that would be the best way to introduce Wolverine.
Yeah, that would be cool. Like, you know, Bruce is like, you know, separated from the Avengers. He's lost control of the Hulk. The Hulk is wilding out, you know, and then, you know, Canada sends Weapon X to take him down. I think that would be pretty dope, actually. Yeah, that would be pretty dope. But anyway, so let's get to casting. So if we say we want the original 5, let's start with Professor Xavier. Now, I'm going to rewind it back. Tony Young put out Leonardo DiCaprio as Professor Xavier. I think that would be fantastic, honestly.
I can see that. I can see that.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, that would be pretty awesome. Head of Omega's over on YouTube. He says Bryan Cranston as Professor Xavier. I mean, does he want to do double duty? Well, he was already a bald, chrome dome Zordon. So does he want to do this again as Professor Xavier? I don't know. But would he be a good Professor Xavier? Probably. He'd probably
be on board for it. I mean, I would not. He'd probably be on board for it. Like, I mean, I honestly, I could see both of them. Like, you know, somebody that's, you know, he doesn't have to be like, you know, necessarily like that much older, but it really depends on what story they want to go with, because I think Tony Young like mentioned earlier that they could potentially go the Ultimate X-Men route, but I don't know if that'd be a good idea. It's like they could,
but, yeah.
But the thing is, that kind of took away from what made the X gene, you know? So, you know, like that, to me, that kind of took the whole like mystique of being a mutant away, really, in Ultimate. Plus, Ultimate was kind of like a downer in some aspects anyway.
Dude, like when they killed Beast and Cyclops, dude, I was like, wow, dude. like what is going on here? Anyway, so I digress. Tony Young also threw out Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Cyclops, which I think would be pretty freaking cool.
Really?
Yeah, Joseph Gordon. I guess I can see that. Yeah, I guess I can see
Cyclops
that.
is like damn near what 6'2", not 6'2", but like.
I mean, yeah, he kind of has like a bit of a, you know, lean jock build.
I know it could be Cyclops. The dude from Supernatural, Jensen Ackles.
Jensen Ackles is as that'd be cool. I like that. I do like that. And GQ's right. Maybe they might want to avoid using Magneto because he's been in damn near every X-Men movie that's ever been done. Yeah. So just like Wolverine. So give them to arrest, like put them off to the side. We can maybe do something else. There's plenty of other X-Men villains they could pull up. That could end up being the main antagonist for this movie.
I'm sure they're probably gonna do some kind of story arc type of thing, just to add other X-Men characters, and they're gonna fight the big baddie and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So it could be one of the greatest storylines told from X-Men, and they might introduce the X Factor, X Force, and and all those characters. Now, so who knows?
It's too bad. It is too bad that Sophie Turner has already been cast as Jean Grey, because I still think she would have been a good one, like in the MCU. I feel like even though Dark Phoenix is getting ready to come out, I do feel like she's been wasted. Like, she's been wasted as a Jean Grey. I think as a Jean Grey, she was probably the perfect cast, because I think she's a natural redhead. I could be wrong about that, or maybe she's blonde and I don't remember. But I thought, her being Sansa for so many years, I thought she looked like Jean. I thought she'd be a good Jean. Naturally beautiful. She's a good looking redhead, and she's not a bad actress. So I think it'd have been all right. I think it'd have been all right for them to use her. But obviously that's not going to happen. We need to pick another Jean. So who could be a good Jean? Amber Heard is already taken. Cannot pick her. Don't even try to go there. Amber Heard is taken. She's going to be Mira. She's going to be Mira for years. So let's not even go there. So who could be a good Jean? Who could be a good Jean?
What was maybe it's just me, but what was old girl's name that was originally supposed to be Mary Jane in Amazing Spider-Man, but they didn't use her?
Emma Stone?
No, I said Mary Jane.
Zendaya?
No, in Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, Shailene Woodley. Shailene Woodley.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, hers Jean might not be bad. Hers Jean might not be bad. She's a redhead too, but
and she's a pretty good actress too. Yeah, so I mean,
she's not a bad actress. Not a bad actress, yeah.
I mean, as long as like at this point, it's like, look, the thing is, as far as storylines go, obviously, and like GQ was saying, like he's tired of Jean. It's like, look, as long as they stay away from the whole Phoenix thing,
stay away from it.
We just don't even need Phoenix nothing for like another 10 years. We don't need it.
Stay away from the whole Phoenix thing. Just have her be regular Jean, and not whiny Jean from the X-Men cartoon either. No,
she could be like the kind of more like the more recent younger Jean.
This dude like GQ said Christina Hendricks could be Jean. Christina Hendricks. Oh man. As entertaining as that might be for some dudes, that's probably a no. That's probably gonna have to. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll have to come back to Jean. We're blanking. So who would be a good Bobby Drake? That's actually a good question. Who would be a good Bobby Drake?
Trying to think.
If he wasn't already Spider-Man, Tom Holland would actually be a pretty good Bobby Drake.
Yeah.
But I think they can get any young actor, young relatively unknown actor, to be Bobby Drake. Now, no, wait. So, are we gonna keep it with canon and knowing Disney? Are we gonna have gay Bobby? Or are we gonna have regular Bobby?
We could go with regular Bobby, as far as I'm concerned, because like to me, that little whole turns was still random as hell to me. So I'm just gonna leave that alone. But just regular Bobby is fine. Like just regular Bobby is fine. But I mean, more than likely they're just they might use that Bobby too. But I mean, I don't know. But
Joshua Sansom Riley says the dude playing Ted Bundy. So
Zac Efron?
Zac Efron as Bobby Drake.
Bobby Drake.
He might be too big to be playing the secondary role.
I mean,
I mean, big as in like notoriety, be playing Iceman. I don't know if he'd do Iceman.
Yeah.
I could see him as Cyclops. He'd be a good Cyclops pick.
See, people were fan casting him as Johnny Storm like recently though. So
he'd be awesome as Johnny Storm, honestly. He'd be awesome as Johnny Storm.
People have been fan casting. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, he could, but I don't like when somebody brought up Johnny Storm. It's like that's the only thing I can see him as now. But I don't know, Bobby Drake. Like that's, I think like you said, they could get somebody that's like young and charismatic to play him though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you know that's all they really need, to be honest.
Someone from like one of these teen dramas or something like that. Go ahead, man.
No, I was gonna say, what's that one kid? He got a bunch of goofy movies. He was the Workaholics. What's that dude's name? I'm about to look him up real quick.
With the Workaholics, what?
That show called Workaholics. He's a part of that crew.
You talking about the short one or the tall one?
I think it's the
Murder Face.
short one. Adam Devine.
Yeah, Adam Devine. He's a short one.
He's pretty funny.
Now, Adam Levine. Okay, yeah. You know what? Some people are saying KJ. Wait, who said this? Someone said KJ Appa is. It was Sharita Jackson that says, you know, make KJ Appa, the guy who's playing Archie, make him be Bobby Drake. I could see that.
I could see it. I could see that. It's funny. I would have never known that dude was Polynesian either.
Yeah, right. You're right. It threw me for a loop when I heard that he was Polynesian. I was like, what? Oh wow.
I could see him be a Bobby Drake. Yeah.
Now GQ cooling, man. He says the Rock is Cyclops. Get out of here, man.
He just throwing anything out there now.
Come on, man. Get out of here, dog. Get out of here, man. That's funny.
Just had him play the whole 5 team on his own.
Right. Austin Butler from the Shannara Chronicles. I guess he could be pretty good. I guess he could be pretty good. There you go. Hand of Omega just gave it to me. The girl that plays Cheryl Blossom on Riverdale, she'd be a perfect Jean.
Hold on. Let's see.
She'd be a perfect Jean.
I just saw her. Yeah. I was just looking at her.
She's not a real redhead, but damn, did she pull that off?
The picture I'm looking at, her hair is red as hell.
Yeah, dude, no, she's not a real redhead.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't matter. She is beautiful, and she'd be a great Jean, I think. Even though it'd be hard for me not to see her as bitchy, snarky Cheryl Blossom like anytime I see her, because like part of the allure of Cheryl is that she's so snarky. You have to laugh her, you love her, and you hate her at the same time. Cause man, she got a mouth, dude. She straight up got a mouth. Yeah, she does. But no, she would be great as Jean.
That's a tough call though. But I mean, I think a lot of people could fit into the role of
I think that'd be a good one.
Yeah,
I do.
It could be. It could be. I agree. I ain't knocking it.
I think that could be a pretty good one. So, all right. So we haven't talked about Beast yet. Who would be a good Beast?
Robert Pattinson.
No. Too emo.
Oh, stop. Stop.
I mean, they trying to make him Batman all of a sudden. I mean, shit.
Yeah, just stop.
Make it something that's a little closer for him, like say, like, have him play Hank McCoy.
That is just as weird as Shaggy being in fucking Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
That's just weird. I don't know what people come up with this shit.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man.
But as far as Beast go, I don't know. Who could be poetic?
Like somebody, I'm trying to think, like somebody that's
intelligent. He'd have to be able to act as intelligent. Marcus Smith says Brock Lesnar is Beast.
Oh my!
No, if you're gonna make Beast, he has to be his original self, and none of these. I mean, dude, the wire work on Beast on these X-Men movies have been terrible.
God awful.
I mean, they has been terrible. I mean, we've got to do something better than what we got.
To be honest, I think Beast should be
Kelsey Grammer was like the best looking Beast they've had.
Right.
Right.
But to be honest, I think Beast should be CG and then have a good voice actor.
No, but see, are we gonna go ahead and do secondary mutations like right now? I mean,
he can still be CG because unless he gets my big as hell, because you got to think about his feet is big as hell and his hands are big as hell, so you can't pull that.
They did it for Lord of the Rings for all the hobbits. Come on, man.
Well, I mean, I guess
they did.
How often do they show their feet? All the time.
They never wore shoes, man.
I never fucking watched that movie.
What's wrong with you, man? What's wrong with you?
Oh yeah, come on, guy never watched Fifth Element. Be quiet.
Touche. Also funny.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Let me see. I don't know. Like the thing is, somebody that could probably sort of have a physique of Hank McCoy.
Yeah, that'd be
like it doesn't have to be the exact physique, but just enough, and obviously with some alterations with this, because there's how he's just
Sharita, don't start, Sharita. Don't start.
No, what she?
We don't start. We not talking about that right now. We talking about who's gonna be playing Beast. We're not gonna be talking about that right now.
Damn, I don't know. Like Beast is a tough one. Beast is gonna be a real tough one to cast. Like especially if we're going to like the original, like before the secondary mutation thing. So that's gonna be a tough one. Like I don't know, like if they'll mess around and like try to just do like photorealistic CG on an actor and just kind of go that way. But that's a tough one. Hank McCoy is a tough one.
Yeah,
CG all the way.
Yeah, that would be a tough one. Look, y'all gonna back up off of me about this damn Fifth Element. Okay,
not our fault.
We ain't doing this right now. We here to talk about casting the X-Men film. That's it.
Piggy.
That's all we doing right now. Okay.
That's all we.
So
okay. Who else we got left? Like we kind of Angel.
All right. So if we move off of that, so Bruce Willis as Beast. Yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. So who will we have as an antagonist for the X-Men in our fan casted X-Men film? And maybe we should throw up some polls. Maybe we can throw up some polls on the fan page and on Twitter asking like who we think would make the best choice out of all our picks for these roles. But who would be the best antagonist for the X-Men in this film? Some Hand of Omega says the Juggernaut. As awesome as Juggernaut looked in Deadpool 2, maybe.
Personally, for me, I think they should go with Mr. Sinister.
That'd be smooth.
That would be smooth. We've never seen Mr. Sinister. He could be chasing after.
Wait, who did you say?
Mr. Sinister.
You said Sinister.
I said Sinister.
No, I said Sinister.
Not you. It's like you said Sinister.
No, I said Mr.
No,
Sinister.
he said it right.
Making sure.
Wow.
Anywho,
you're the only you're the only on the
Hand of Omega says the Brotherhood. No, we've done the Brotherhood. We've done the Brotherhood to death. We're not doing the Brotherhood again. So, but I do like Mr. Sinister because it allows you to play up the whole he's chasing after trying to do genetic experimentation. He's always chasing after the Summers gene. Maybe we can tie into some kind of future Destiny type thing with Jean and Cyclops. How he's always trying to get their genes and experiment on them and all this other kind of mumble jumble.
It'd be cool though. I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
I mean, if they do the first 5 in the first movie, for the second movie, they should go ahead and go to the Savage Land and send them there and Krakoa, and they bring the new X-Men in and go save them like in the storyline, and you have
having them get lost and having like a new team would be kind of hard to do because again, that goes back to what I said about building a team that you actually build a rapport with. So it will kind of suck. You bring in this new team and then you immediately ship them off at the end of the first movie, and you have to bring in a new team of X-Men to go find the old team of X-Men.
At least we know who died first, though. Warpath on his first mission. So
right.
So he can get rid of him. That sucks so bad. I don't know who they can use on as a villain. I don't know.
I mean,
all
it's
the
like
top gunners.
It's like, I don't know, like every main one that we know for a fact is that they've used has already been used. I mean, you know, we don't. I mean, the thing is, even if they do use Sabretooth, he can't be alone because. You know, the thing is, I mean, you have to have Wolverine involved. You're going to use it.
No, you can't do. I was going to say, what if we did the Hellfire Club? But that leads right into
the Phoenix
story, and we don't want to deal with that. No, I was just about to say it. So my bad for saying that.
Joshua said Omega Red. It's like, yeah, but you still have to use Wolverine. Wolverine is still tied to that. So no.
It's hard to do. It's hard to do any time travel story about Days of Future Past or anything like that too, because that's too fresh in the consciousness. And I was thinking about doing a classic Days of Future Past, like where he's trying to kill Senator Kelly, you know, for, you know, the whole humans hate mutants type thing, which would honestly tie into the political times. I think would be pretty good. This guy GQ says GQ as Mr. Sinister. That actually wouldn't be bad. I would buy that. That actually would be pretty good.
I mean, it'll have to be Mr. Sinister, especially if they do the story arc that he did with the Fall of the Mutants.
Yeah, you know, we'd have to think about this some more.
Yeah,
exactly
because
what would be the best. That one kid from the Maze Runner as Cyclops, the one that played what was it? Tom, the guy that played Tom in the Maze Runner. Yeah, he would be good as Cyclops. I think he would be good.
What was his name? Let me see, because he was in that movie American Assassin too. Just had it up. Hold on. It is Dylan O'Brien.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was actually thought about him earlier when we was talking about Cyclops. I could see it.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Yep.
That'll work.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
The thing is, what makes this so hard is that, like, after all these years, and especially with, like, you know, Disney or Marvel Studios basically getting the rights back, the thing is, the possibilities are just so fucking endless right now.
Right? I'm absolutely, like, I'm just so super excited at the possibility of what they're going to do with the Marvel with X-Men moving forward. Like, I mean, imagine, man, like we are actually going to get Avengers versus X-Men one day. We're going to get Avengers versus X-Men one day. Oh, you know how dope that's going to be? Like,
that would be so
an Avengers versus X-Men movie. That's gonna be so dope. Like, what if they did, like, right? So this is just me just spitballing, right? Like, and this is like completely off topic, but I'm just spitballing. What if they did like some crazy crossover movie that released in 2 parts over the course of the same year that dealt with one big storyline that dealt with like the Avengers and the X-Men. Like, it started as an Avengers movie from the Avengers perspective, and then ended in the second movie's X-Men movie from the X-Men perspective.
That would be sick, dude.
It would just be so ridiculously sick. Like, I just, oh my god! I mean, just my mind is blown at possibly. Hey, look, Hand of Omega, we ain't gonna claim that. He says, just hope Kevin Feige doesn't leave Marvel anytime soon. What if all the newer movies start sucking? We ain't claiming that. We ain't claiming that. Look,
we not speaking that into existence, fam.
Right, we ain't speaking that. No, look. If we gotta pump this man, if we gotta go out and find the fountain of youth for this man, so he can keep producing these films and pass into like legendary producer Guild of America status, we gonna make that happen. Because literally, this man Kevin Feige can do no wrong in my eyes. Like, he has elevated himself so high. Like, I'll forgive him for stealing from me. Like, I don't even know what else I can say. Like, I would forgive him for a lot of things. Like, short of him killing one of my kids, I'd be willing to forgive him for a lot of things. This man has elevated himself so high in my consciousness. I'm just saying. This guy can do no wrong. This guy can do no harm in In my feelings, man. Have the Avengers on a mission, and at the end, Wolverine attacks the Hulk. Man, look. GQ's got, I mean, a great idea. Like, have the Avengers on a mission, and at the end, Wolverine attacks the Hulk. Like, this is what we're talking about.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if stuff like that happens in Endgame, you know, like how ridiculous that would be. Like, folks will lose their mind.
Like, dog, like Ryan Reynolds just like literally just trolling and having Deadpool just pop up randomly in random shit, like just out of nowhere, just pop up. Like, dog, this is what we're looking forward to here. This is what we're looking forward to here. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great, everyone. It's
the hype is real. The hype is real right now.
This is what I'm talking about, man. Whew, it's gonna be so good. Whew, I can't wait. Cannot wait. But no, anyway, with all the hype surrounding all these announcements from Marvel and from Disney and from Fox about the impending merger. We thought last year was a great year for us geeks. Man, this year is gonna be something else. And then next year, after they really put the gears to the grind, man, it's gonna be lovely. It's gonna be lovely, man. I tell you. Anyway, guys, it's almost 10:30. We're gonna get ready to get out of here. We've had a wonderful time. We've had a bunch of new viewers join the show with us this week. New commenters. We had a new follow on Twitch on Twitch. So happy joy for all of that. Daido Kuji is going to start playing. I think he said every single week. Wednesdays on Facebook, and eventually he will elevate that to our other channels. So if you haven't followed us on Twitch, if you haven't followed us on YouTube, go follow us on both of those portals, because that's where you're going to be able to find us and increasing content. For this show right here, Culture Junkies Live, hosted by me, the great host Kenshiro. We are broadcasting live every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central Time. Next week we'll be back, and Sharita Jackson is taking me to task. She said we're gonna be talking about that whole Fifth Element thing next week. No promises. No promises. You never know. By then, I might have actually watched the damn thing. So there. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. For my boys GQ, who's in the chat and joined us earlier, for Fallen Marvel, for Super Nerd Plus, and for the Great Adakuji, I'm Kenshiro. We'll see you guys next week. Have a great week, everybody. Peace out.
Peace, y'all. Take it easy.
Stay warm, because it was actually really super cold. It was super
Bye,
cold.
everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Cobra! Hey, right. Oh, right. I can't close without doing
Excelsior!